just going to stand near you because you have the microphone. So welcome, everybody. My name's Joyce Strong, and I am a confident woman.
Are you strong?
And I'm strong. She can tell you. So I'm the founder for a Confident Women Consortium. Thank you for coming, Melanie. You're just such a confident woman. And I founded this organization for an opportunity to bring women together and lift us up. I'm somebody who found I had some buried dreams. I had things that were there, and I had some, stop looking at me, you're going to make me cry. My daughter. So I had some dreams that just took a little while to come to the surface, and then just really take some risks to go for them. So that's why I founded this organization. And now, as Joyce Strong, RN, Total Well Coach, being a nurse and a wellness coach, nutrition educator, and personal coach, I see that a lot of my clients, that they come to me maybe for a weight issue or a health issue, but come to find out something is driving that, and they really need to change their whole lifestyle and maybe find where their hidden dreams are. So we're here to lift each other up and teach other people how to do that. And to that end, I've invited my friend, Maureen B.Weisner. She is an executive coach from KICKSTART Your Transition. And her website says it all. In her presentation tonight, we'll say it all. So I'm going to hand it right over to you. And thank you for being here.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
Yeah.
Thank you for inviting me. So one thing in public speaking that you're not supposed to do is thank your audience for coming. And I say push to that. I'm in the Merrimack Valley. I am in Andover. And I don't know if any of you are familiar with the debacle that happened last week. So just to take a few minutes, and the narrative around that, actually, the timing was such that it was 4:30 p.m., and I have a home office, and my phone started ringing, and our landline started ringing, but who pays attention to a landline at this point? No one does. It's either a robocall or right? It's not, who's calling on that? Then when my cell phone started to go off and his cell phone, we said, this is interesting. Maybe it's the alarm company for one of the other offices that we have. And I finally picked it up, and it said, evacuate your home immediately and turn off the gas. So, what's the emotion that happens with that? Evacuate your home and turn off the gas. So my husband was in the shower. He was on his way to a meeting. I was going to a meeting, and I said, I still have to go to the meeting. And this is what I was thinking. Now, how crazy is that? You still have to go to the meeting because that's on my calendar. That's what I'm supposed to be doing. And so I said, maybe we need to. And then I said, wait a second. We're not on gas. We have an oil burner. So wait a second. What do I have to do? So back it up, try to figure it out, get in the car, still going. And my neighborhood, everyone's outside. And I said, hello to everyone, and you can go back home because we don't have gas. We were angry with Columbia Gas because on our 4 cul-de-sacs, they would not pull the pipes down there. So thankfully, and tremendous gratitude around this because people have been impacted in Andover and everywhere. 3 months without gas I don't know how people are going to do that with children, however, you can't manage a functional life. But people are moving forward, people are helping. Our synagogue has a big push, and that was a big topic for the high holidays. How can we help the communities? So part of that around gratitude and anxiety, and whether you're in the job search, and that's something that I really work on, career transitions, job search, the bad phone call, the good phone call, the relationship that was great yesterday and suddenly not so great. This isn't what I expected to hear, the phone call from a physician, or the job that I had that, I thought I had, and now, what do I have to do? So how do we manage around that? Anxiety is a huge piece of this, and I know, Joyce, you work with this a lot with your clients. So one activity that this is a quickie, and we can do this quickly. Think about this. Everybody close your eyes. Think about 3 things, just 3. It can be more than that, but just limit it to 3. 3 things that you're grateful for. Just very quickly, 3 things that you're grateful for. Okay. Open up. Who wants to share?
Melanie,
Melanie,
my job,
your job.
and a place.
Your health, your family, and your job. Anyone else? Being alive, your neighbors, and your family. Okay, I mean, these seem to be universal themes. It's family, it's health. For some people, it's pets. Yeah, for some people, it's pets. I mean, there's nothing that's outrageous about an answer, and you can make a long list. But what I do recommend, and that's what the Post-its are for, and I do recommend that people do this, keep the list, write it down. 3 things that you're grateful for. Just keep it on your mirror, put it on your dashboard, put it someplace so that when you're in that moment where everything sort of feels like it's hitting the fan and you don't know what to do, how can you disengage that part of your brain? Because the amygdala, or amygdala, what's the proper pronunciation? Who's the RN in here? Is it the amygdala? Thank you. That part of the brain, the flight or fight part of the brain that takes over instead of the executive part, the functioning part of the brain, where we just say, I have to run, I have to flee. I have to get out of my house even though I don't have gas in my house. I have oil heat. So thankfully, I could be in a place where I could help other people, which was a good thing. But this is a great, great way to calm yourself down no matter what it is, whether you're stuck in traffic and you say, okay, what am I grateful for here? Family, friends, health, a place to live, a job, my pets, all of those things. And the image that happens, it changes the connection in your brain, changes it quickly, and it allows you to come to a space that's much more calming and much more healing. When we talk about change in general, and I ask audiences this all the time, how do you feel about change? How good are you with change? And most audiences will say, yeah, I'm pretty good with change. I like change. I welcome change. Change, I'm all about change. And you say, really? Tell me about this, because this is interesting. Change. Tell me about this place where you love change, you welcome change, it's fabulous. I'm not talking about the leaves changing as the season moves forward, but this is it, oh yes. And usually if it's a mixed audience where there are more men, and I do speak to a lot of men's groups, especially in the financial world, yes, I love change. So you say, okay, well tell me about that. Or does it have more to do with, I'm really happy if you change. I'm really happy my annoying neighbor, my colleague, the landlord, my boss, someone else in my world needs to change, but they also need to change in a fashion that would please me. So not only are they not allowed to do a change that's going to make them better and prosper perhaps, I mean that's kind of okay, but you'll also find that when you do make a change, it also makes other people uncomfortable. Has anyone experienced that? Uncomfortable. Well, if you're changing and I'm not changing, then there's something wrong with me, so now I'm annoyed with you. So if you decide to change your career or go back to school or take on more responsibility or try a sidebar, a business that might be interesting, sometimes when you present this information to people who you love and trust, oftentimes it's your family of origin or the people who are closest to you in your workspace, and you say, you know, you come into the room with just a big bouquet of balloons, and you say, I want to tell you about my new idea. I want to share this with you. Sometimes the reaction is not what you expected. Sometimes the reaction is more about balloon popping. I'm really concerned about your safety. I don't know about this move. Do you really think you can live in, I don't know, Montana? Do you really think that that's a good idea, financial risk? So they've been busy popping your balloons. On the other hand, if I walk into a group of people I don't know, and I tell you, you know, I've always wanted to sing at the Metropolitan Opera, and I've been practicing, I'm working with a coach, this is what I'm going to do. What's a reaction that a group of complete strangers might have? Encouragement. Tell me when the show is. We'll bring a bus. It's fabulous. So sometimes those ideas that are nearest and dearest and closest to us, and it's very tender, and it's just as if you're growing with it, and it's a seedling and you want to develop it, sometimes the people who really do care about you and they love you and they want you to be successful, but their stuff gets in the way of your change and success because it reflects on them. My former OBGYN, in the days when I was still on the OB part of the GYN, said, you know, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do it in the same way. I don't want to do OB, boom, I'm finished with that. I only want to work with women who are either premenopausal or postmenopausal. That's my area. I'm writing about that. He was doing a lot of teaching and a lot of traveling. Okay, his colleagues were very disappointed. Why are you making this change? You're so good at what you do. Ultimately, he said, you know, I don't want to be in the Boston area anymore. I travel a lot. I have a home in Aspen, and I have a home in, I think he's in Mexico. He's in Cabo also. And I'm going to sell the practice. I'm going to move. And he said he was shocked to his shoes by the reactions that he had from lots of people because he was making such an enormous, and this was not an overnight decision. This was well thought out. He knew what he was doing. His wife was on the same page as he, which can also be an issue for anybody who's approaching retirement or a job change. If you don't have both people, if you're in a partnership, whatever it looks like, a business partnership, personal partnership, that other person may or may not be on the same page as you. So sometimes it's about introducing it slowly. Here's a plan, it's an idea that I had, or kind of keeping it quiet until you really have the economics of it and the space where you can take advantage of it. So change. So we're back to change and how easy or hard change is. If you think about coloring books when we were kids and the outline is in very dark black and we colored in the lines and we were very clear about that, most people can change from the edges, and that's kind of it. Unless there's a significant emotional event, and again, I'm sure, Joyce, you can speak to this. If you have the bad phone call from the doctor, you have to stop smoking, you have to stop drinking. So what is the acronym for it? SEE, a significant emotional event. Something happens that's radical. There was a website a number of years ago that was created by a man, and it said, turn the clock back 5 minutes. I said, I'm curious. What's that about? Turn the clock back 5 minutes. Well, if I turned it back 5 minutes, and she wouldn't have told me that she wanted to leave, and 60% of divorces are initiated by women. So you kind of say, wait a second, turn the clock back 5 minutes. Everything's the same. Everything's changed. But it just means that you turn the clock back 5 minutes. I don't think you have the right picture here, like the big picture, like what prompted her announcement that she was leaving. There's a lot of work that has to go with that. So there's a superficial way to look at things. Who's had a challenge in here where they presented an idea and you said, well, you know, I'm really excited about this, and it has not been received as I expected? I think, yeah. I mean, it's sort of shocking, but at the same time, it's understanding who and how you're presenting it. So if there's a plan, if you're going to initiate something that's new, and you're not a solo act and you can do what you want and you have a checkbook that, you know, takes care of everything, then knock yourself out. It's great. But it's also important to find groups like this where you don't know anyone, where you may know a few people, so there's some familiarity, or you're drawn here for a particular reason, and Joyce is a great reason to come here. How is it about change, and what is it? Like, what's one change that somebody in here is looking for that you'd like to share? Change of your career. Yahoo, okay. So where are you in the process? Yahoo, okay, okay. So dive into something else. Okay, so diving into something else means what?
Well, for me, it means definitely getting away from where I was and transitioning into something with my...
So geographically, or is this?
I'm in the process right now of developing a business.
Developing a business, okay. So this is like this is a baby. You know, you're looking at it, and you're it's a teeny tiny baby who's not, yes. So isn't fully formed, and how wonderful is that?
Yeah,
so
really
tell everybody, because here we go. We've got an audience. Tell everybody what you're up to.
So the thing that I got from my career the most was, that I enjoyed the most was coaching and mentoring and teaching time management and those types of skills. So now I don't want to go back to what I was doing, but I want to take that piece with me, and I am creating a business called More Life with Less to help people minimize and organize and, realize that most people cause their own stress because of the amount of stuff and lots of stuff. And
What is that Japanese philosophy now? The woman who sold, a gazillion books. It's right. You have to fall in love with each piece of whatever it is that you have. Or what is it about downsizing? Who in here knows somebody that needs to downsize? Okay. There's no shame in here. This is who needs to downsize and get rid of things. Okay. There you go. Here we go. So we've got the perfect opportunity for you to connect and find out how does this process work? Is it scary? Does it mean that if I'm throwing stuff out or I'm donating stuff or I have a calendar on here that by X time I'm going to make inroads in whether it's my garage or for some people it's their car. I mean, truly, this is my daughter who has lived independently for a number of years and is a professional woman, was having her car detailed. And when she drove by, which was sort of interesting, and I didn't hear too much, and then I went downstairs and I found a pile of stuff in my basement. And I said, how is this even, I don't even know how this is possible that this could have fit in one car. Never mind that this is stuff that she doesn't need right now, that she has to have the car detailed. So now the car's been detailed. Where do you think the stuff is? Because what she realized and what I realized, does she need it? No, doesn't need it. So there you go. So it's downsizing, it's the car, it could be the attic. It's a scary place to be where you're saying, I'm going to unload some of the things that I have here. What does that mean? Does that mean she's taking something away from me? So you can do it in stages. It can be throw away, it's keep, throw away, donate, however the process happens. But I'm sure you can get in touch. You have business cards? Okay, for anybody who needs. So here's the thing about business cards. It's fabulous. Vistaprint.com. Fast, cheap. Just don't get the ones that say free on the back. That's bad. And get heavy stock. Get heavy stock with it. And make sure you don't even have to have a job title on there, because some people get crazy. I've had clients who are they're in transition. They're like, oh, what am I going to call myself? I said, doesn't matter. People need to be able to reach you. They need to get a phone number. They need to get, and now it's not a landline, everyone. Let's remember that. Unless there's a gas emergency, God forbid. But the point is, these are little steps that feel like they're insurmountable, and you just say, and I can call myself whatever I want to call myself. And guess what? If I don't like that or the business card doesn't work, I'll throw them out and get some new ones. I'll get some new ones. I can do it on white cardstock. I can do fancy. I can do headshots. You can do all kinds of things. So who else has a business idea? I hear that there are people in here who are trying to monetize other things. Sidebars, changes, transitions.
I just got my real estate license.
Wahoo! Wahoo! There you go. Real estate, they love hedge.
The biggest part of the story, you have to give a little bit of
Just a little dear.
A little.
Story.
Short, make it short.
So make it short. 3 bullets. This is it.
All right. My husband passed away a year ago.
Sorry.
Oh my goodness. Sorry.
Don't be
So
sorry.
I've been doing a lot of downsizing. So my house, the stuff, all the stuff.
Stuff.
It's freeing.
It is.
And anyway, I bought a place I got my license, my real estate license, and bought a condo in Florida and renovating it.
Wahoo!
And then now I've decided to go live there for the winter.
Wahoo!
And see what the heck happens. And so after getting all that training in real estate, John and Keller was spending a fortune to do all that. I'm going to Florida, but I'll get my license.
It doesn't go away. Here's it.
I'll get my license.
There you go.
And so we'll see. I don't know where my life's going, but.
You're very brave, and you don't have to know. Sometimes we expect we need to know every answer. Every answer. Anyone who has a child in here, do you say that? No. Try it. Try it. What is it about trying new things? There you go. Have you ever been at a wedding when people are sitting at the tables and they don't dance? And I think, why are you here? I mean, aside from, why are you here? It's great music, food, you're celebrating something that's wonderful, and you're sitting. Now, unless there's some orthopedic issue, again, people have an excuse for that. Here's the truth about it. No one cares how you dance unless you're a professional dancer. Nobody cares. When was the last time you had a recollection at a celebration that you attended where you said, oh, that person is just, oh, this is like an old Seinfeld episode with Elaine, right? Elaine, where she couldn't write. Elaine was. But and so what? And so what? So the hesitation that we have as adults is that, I'm going to feel uncomfortable. I'm going to be embarrassed. This is new. I don't know how to handle this. So I'll say, well, think of it like ice skating. I personally hate ice skating, but I know that there's a hockey family here. So I'll okay. More than one hockey family, okay. So ice skating's not my thing. Grew up in New York City, ice skating wasn't that big a deal. But here's the thing, try anything 3 times. First time, you have no idea how it's going to go. No idea. Can you hold a golf club? Can you swim a stroke? Can you paint a sunset? Maybe yes, maybe no. Don't know. But you're very open with yourself. And what would you tell a kid? What would you tell a 5-year-old? Try it. Try it. We are so open with our children. So yes, of course, try it. Why not? Second time, you have a better idea. Third time, yes, I'll kick this to the curb or I'll keep doing it. And one thing I suggest to adults is that if you're uncomfortable with groups, try a private lesson first with whatever, the hockey coach, to see if this may not be a good match for you. And imagine this. I was thinking, growing up in New York City, there were people that never learned to drive. They didn't have to. But how do you get around in the world without a driver's license? It's a problem. So when you're an adult, imagine learning how to drive, not when you're 16. There are people that never learned to ride a bicycle. Think about that. You think, oh my God, how's that possible? So how would you as an adult do that? And there are classes and there are people that can help you with that so you don't have to jump on a two-wheeler with training wheels. Can you imagine that? But at the same time, it's scary. I mean, these are scary things. Somebody who's never been on a diving board before, somebody who's never, this is all new and different. And we make assumptions because, you might have gone to the Y, or there was a bicycle or a sled or whatever. Well, there would be a sled up here. That's the other snow and so forth. So skiing, all of these things. So what is it about change and what is it about learning something new? What are you curious about? What are you curious about learning? So you got your real estate license, very brave, boom. New business. Who else is curious about doing something new and different?
Well, I need to get out of my comfort zone, and like this, as you said, this is scary to me, speaking in a crowd. Business that I do, I need to be out meeting new people, and that's just something that's not comfortable for me.
So getting out of your comfort zone by meeting new people. So tell us what you do.
I work for a company called Beauty Counter, which is about safer skincare, and it is sold through consultants, but you can also shop with it online, but it is something that you need to tell people the story about the company, that we are mission-based and we're out to put safer skincare products into the hands of everyone. But they say, go talk to the person next to you in the Starbucks line, and that's just, I cannot do that.
Okay, so I want to sit next to you on an airplane so that you won't make me crazy for 3 hours. But this is, right.
Well, that's it. I mean, that's where I...
So these are opportunities. So who has a hint for other ways to make connections without waiting for a meeting like this? What's another way for her to make good connections?
LinkedIn.
Okay, LinkedIn.
I think coming to an event like this
Yes.
without the intention to sell, but just letting people get to know you and let them incidentally know what you do.
Right.
And just filling your calendar with making connections.
Well, that's it. It's making the connections.
It's making
Nobody's
connections.
going to know what you do unless you say something. 'Cause
This
that's
is
more
true.
like, just sitting next to that person on the airplane, just to be like, so what do you do? I have a hard time with, just starting that conversation.
Or you could say, hey, I really like your makeup. And
Yeah.
then,
Yeah, there you
then
go.
you can say, here's.
There you
Oh,
go.
well, look at what I, this is what I do. So it can prompt the conversation.
Right.
And part of it is tell me about yourself. Or if you're at a meeting like this, it's what brought you here tonight. And then it's very neutral. People will talk and say, oh, you know, I was interested in the speaker. So that's the reason I came. It wasn't just for the food. But there are ways that you can become, and the more comfortable you are with making those introductions and talking to people about it. It's, again, strangers, people that don't know you well, don't see you from second grade on, and can't imagine that because you trained. There are attorneys that I've worked with, not exclusive to the attorney that is here, but this is my good friend Cindy, who hate the law. They hate it. It was a bad decision. They didn't get proper career counseling or counseling when they were, any guidance when they were in school. It's wonderful when you find somebody who's terrific. And again, Cindy is somebody who just loves what she's doing and is terrific, and with her outreach. But what do you do if you're an attorney and you hate the law? 3 years of school, oops, what do I do? Not everybody can write a screenplay. Not everybody can teach in a law school. Not everybody can write a book. So what do? So we work with those clients to say, where's your skill set? How can we reframe this? What's an organization that makes a good match and sense for you? And how can you take that in another direction? One of the other things that we think about with habits, we talked about habits. We've got a chiropractor here who does a different kind of methodology, which isn't just crunch and push and bang and so forth. So has a very different philosophy. And some of us, again, we all have preconceived notions about what a visit to a chiropractor would be, and your philosophy is quite different. So you've segued from what your training was. You've transitioned, thankfully. Did you have guidance around that, or was that just...
My husband and I worked together, and we were trained by someone, but we really have kind of gone off in our own direction and innovated, and it was challenging not to be under the auspices, of an organization or a teacher per se, and have to learn how to articulate what is this and how does it work and what are the benefits, and overcome everything that pops into someone's mind when you hear the word chiropractic, which everyone has something.
Okay. So they had a good experience, a bad experience, or they know somebody who had an experience. So it's sort of like your baby name. Never tell anybody what it is beforehand because everyone has an opinion on it. I hated Jane in kindergarten, or my next door neighbor. So, and then it colors going forward, whatever it is. So there's something about assumptions that we make, and I'm going to read something. This is also never do this in public speaking. So I said, again, too bad. So listen carefully, and I know we've got smart women here. You're going to have the answer to this because it's about you identify who I'm speaking about, okay? On a cold January day, a 43-year-old man was sworn in as the chief executive of his country. By his side stood his predecessor, a famous general who 15 years earlier had commanded his nation's armed forces in a war that resulted in the defeat of Germany. The young leader was raised in the Roman Catholic faith. He spent the next 5 hours watching parades in his honor and stayed up celebrating until 3 o'clock in the morning. Who am I talking about? John Kennedy, but there's somebody else. Adolf Hitler.
I was just going to say Hitler. That was the first one I thought.
Adolf Hitler. Okay. But these are, yay, ding, ding, ding. I don't have any prizes. But here's the thing about assumptions. How often do we make assumptions? All the time. We make hundreds of decisions in the course of the day. Hundreds of decisions. So what happens? Okay, we have to kind of not think that clearly about every single one. What happens at the end of the day after a long day, whether you have work responsibilities, you come home, what happens after you finish the bare end of whatever you have to do? Most people aren't going out to a yoga class. Most people are doing what? Watching television. Who's watching the History Channel? Please don't even go there. But I love it. When I did this with a group of financial guys, half of them raised their hands. Yes, watch the History Channel. Please spare me. This is, yes, there's a percentage of them who are watching the History Channel, or even if you're watching HGTV, you might figure out how to drywall something. But for the most part, what are people doing with television? They're escaping. They're checking out. So on average, Americans watch anywhere from 2 to 3 hours of television a night. Do the math. What else could you be doing instead? Well, I could be eating Ben & Jerry's, right, which is also something, or chips, or these are habits. And what is it about habits? We talked about this a little bit. The book is fabulous. Habits have 3 pieces, okay? Anyone engage in good habits? Tell me a good habit. Working out. Okay, what else? Cooking healthy food. What else is a good habit?
Flossing my teeth.
Yes, there you go.
Twice a day.
Flossing your teeth twice a day. Okay. What else? Drinking water. Okay, what else? What are good habits? Washing your face. Oh, absolutely. How many?
I've learned so many people do not wash their face.
Oh, God. Thanks for sharing. Okay. So, well, it's funny. I was at a leadership program in California for a year doing some training a few years ago, and it was intensive. So we had to go back 6 times. And there was a group from some of the Scandinavian countries, and they would come with like a backpack, and that was it. And there were no washer dryers there. This was hardcore. And I said, I don't even understand what's in that magic pack that I don't know that sort of multiplies by itself, because I came in with a suitcase of stuff, and they're looking at me like I just landed from Mars. But how do you not wash your face? How do you not wash your clothes? But some people, I don't know, they think they air dry or something. I don't know. So here we are on habit. So habit is what? There's a trigger. So what's a trigger? Could be emotional, yeah. Day. Or it could be something as simple as when I walk into this room, this is what I do. So there's a sensation. So we have this feeling whenever I walk into the family room, this is what I do. And what I do then gives me what? There's 3 parts. Dopamine. What happens with your phone? Ooh. It's a dopamine hit every time you look at your phone. Apple knows this. They do. Everything is set up so you get this continuing hit. And it's just boom, trigger, trigger, trigger. Okay, so what happens with the trigger? Then you respond, and then there's a reward at the end. So what's your reward? Well, it could be 10 pounds of a relationship with Ben and Jerry. Or it could be that now, instead of changing the habit, instead of breaking the habit, because that's what people talk about, I have to break that habit, I have to break that down. What happens when you try to break something or change something? Because we've already talked about what's the pushback on change? Resist. Whoa, I don't want to. Wait, there's a loss for me. Whoop, I don't like this. What's going to happen if I do this? Whoop, boop, 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 boop. Let me try, I'll rationalize with the habit. It's sort of like I'll kind of play with the habit. The habit's not going to speak to you. The habit will give you pushback because the habit likes to be filled. It likes, every time you come in here, you turn on the TV. Every time, and I get to watch whatever. And again, I'm not saying that you should never watch TV. You should never check out or not just spend time listening to music. But what else could you be doing instead of that? Just think, 15 minutes a day, just 15 minutes a day, and you learn piano, a language. What else could you learn? Everything is online now. You could probably get your PhD in 15 minutes every day, right? This is just, and if you give yourself 15 minutes, there's a whole philosophy around. I think it's what is it? It's a tomato is the picture. I can't think of the name of it exactly, but that's what it is. It's 15 minutes a day, and you set a timer for it. Pomodoro, thank you. So you see, you got it. The tomato, good for me. At least we were on the right. Thank you for helping me. That's what happens. So the Pomodoro effect, so 15 minutes, boom. What happens after 15 minutes? Ding, the timer goes off, and then what? You get to choose. You can continue with whatever it is, or you can set it aside and forget about it. So what is it about curiosity here? So curiosity, learning about something new. You got the layoff notice. Curiosity. So I'll tell you just a quick story. Curious. Does anyone know where the Marriott on 128 is in Newton? Yeah. Okay. Like everybody's gone to meetings there, everybody's passed it, everybody knows where it is pretty much. So on the way to the Marriott, there's the Charles River Boating Club. Passed this 100 times. I said, you know, they have kayaks and they have paddle boards, and people are always talking about paddle boards, and this is wonderful, and it's great for your core, and all of these, everybody's happy paddle boarding. I said, okay, I haven't, you know, I've been in boats before, but what's the big deal? So hassling my husband about this, he said, okay, let's just go down there, we'll rent whatever it is, we'll try it, it'll be great. So I said, let's go for the kayaks. Kayaks right there. Get in the kayak, the kid helps us. He said, you go out for an hour, it's wonderful, you go around the Charles River, blah, blah, blah. There's places you can look at, you can stop. Some guy has, I don't know, he has bottles of water if you get that far, or if you don't get that far. So we're in the kayaks, 15, and I'm watching the people on the paddle boards going by. Everybody on the paddle board's happy. Okay, there's somebody on a paddle board with a dog in the front, a little dog in the front of the paddle. Everyone's happy on the paddle boards. I'm in this stupid kayak, and I'm looking around. So I'm looking up at the highway from there, and I said, this is deadly boring. I can't believe that I'm doing this. So I turned to my husband because I figured because he loves it. He's a runner. He loves all of this stuff. So I look at him. He looks at me. I said, I'm so bored. I can't stand this. He said, me too. Fabulous. Let's go paddleboarding. Great. So we come back fast. And the kid says, you know, you still have time. I said, you know, we do. We want to try the paddle boards. Because everybody's, honest to God, they're like talking to each other. They're joking. The dog is happy. Everyone's happy. And I'm bored in the kayak. So get the paddle boards. I said, how hard can this be? You stand on the paddle. And the kid's telling me, everyone has success with this. There's like no learning curve with this. I said, well, you know, it's not stable. I mean, it's not, you know, you're still in the water. Do you need a life preserver? And he said, no, you don't need any of that. Just get on the back and just go, lady, right? That's what he wanted to say. So we get on the paddle boards and off we go with paddling. I said, I'm so bored, I can't stand this. He says to me, you kidding? I said, no, I really am. I'm bored. I want to turn this thing around and go back. So back we go. He said, you know, you're right. So back we go. And the kid said, you know, you still have some time. You still have some time. I said, you know, it's okay. Just give it to somebody else. Point of the story is, so what? What I know now is I don't have to do it 3 times because I already did this. I know I got it. Forget kayaking, forget the paddle boards. Don't have to do it. But it's something that I was curious about. So what are you curious about that you've seen, that you want to try, but it kind of seems frivolous, or it seems like it's something that, I don't know if I'll be good at it. Maybe, what are those painting things that people go to when they get drunk and they paint awful, right? Yeah. Right. Okay, but those are, you know, again, but does it matter? I mean, does it matter that you have to leave with a masterpiece? No, the idea is that you're with other people, you're doing something that's different, you want to try something that's different. So part of what it is, and that's what we're talking about today, is what is it that can change? What are we willing to change? What's one thing that you're willing to change? And I'll finish with this great story because this is a success story and everybody will appreciate this. We had a great client. He was a former CFO, chief financial officer, laid off, boom, boom. Couldn't find a job. Was it ageism? Probably part of it. Yes, that was an issue for him. But, you know, what are you going to do? You have to keep moving forward. So he's looking at job. We prepped him, and the major part of what we do is preparing clients for job interviews, resumes, interview coaching, salary negotiation, all of those pieces. We're not recruiters, but that's what we do. And job change entirely. So I don't want to do this anymore. I want to be out of the field. What am I going to do? Let's look at your skill set. What can you do? So for him, he wanted to stay in financials. It was wonderful. He's getting to 2nd round interviews, 3rd round interviews. Poof, can't pull the trigger. And he's not able to execute, can't figure it out. Nice guy, and we've prepped him. He gives us the feedback. Just don't know what's happening. And you understand when you're working with your salespeople. You get it. You know, what is it that doesn't happen? Can't pull the trigger. So I said, finally, you know what, we got to stop this because this is just making you feel worse about everything. It's not getting anywhere. Let's try doing something else. What about physical activity? What do you like to do? He said, I'm so busy with work, and I really haven't had, and we do all our coaching on the phone, so I don't know from, the head down, I don't know what anybody looks like, unless they really want to share. And that's for another time. Skyping after midnight. No. So we said, okay, what did you do that you like to do? When you were in school, how's that? Now, for a lot of men, which is actually funny, when you go back to the halcyon days of high school or college, somehow everyone was either a varsity player on whatever team it was or could have been a professional athlete. Had they not, one woman said to me, your husband said he could have had a career as a professional hockey player, except, she said, first of all, you're 5'9" and you went to medical school. So when was this exactly going to happen? So let me just say that for the most part, men don't, and this is not, again, Noah, not you, but are not reliable in terms of their athletic prowess when they were in school. So, and we can't go back there. So anyway, pushing him, what did you do when you were in school? Oh, he said I was a runner. Okay, I don't know what that is. Does that mean marathons? Does it mean, what does it mean? We don't want to go down that slippery slope. Okay, so I said, okay, what's it going to take to get you out running? Oh, I have to get sneakers. I said, okay. Sneakers, that's a good start. Sneakers, okay, maybe like a running store. So he's on this research project to get the right running sneakers. Now I know why he didn't get the job. No, but that's, but he's a delightful guy. So anyway, he goes running store to running store. They diagnose the kind of foot he has, the kind of what he's doing, blah, blah, blah. One of the salespeople said to him, we have a running club. Would you like to join? I mean, it's just basic. You don't have to run marathons. You don't have to do, this is just getting started. Even if you have a background in running, this is just getting started. So, long and the short of it is, he meets new people that he never would have met. It's like being here tonight. Think about it. Meets all these new people. Mentions in passing that he's in the job hunt. Connections for him. Meanwhile, he has an interim CFO position. So the great part of this, and I want you to leave tonight with that, knowing that changing your perspective, whether it's looking out the rearview mirror or a different space or place, makes all the difference in the world. And it can be the most minor thing that you do, whether it's a new business card that gives you confidence and you say, I'd love to share my business card with you. So never thrust your card at somebody because they probably say, why? So this is sharing what you're doing. This is what he did in a completely new environment. You're in a completely new environment tonight. So what I'm going to leave you with is, and I don't know, do we have time now just for a quick exercise?
Sure.
Good. Yeah. Okay. So this is goal setting. So what I'd like you to do is pair up with someone who you don't know. And this is write down, it's self-explanatory. It tells you exactly what to do. So get started on this and then take it home for homework.
Well, I was just checking this table to see if you need to.
There you go. Who needs a friend? Everybody have?